from the Central Council. You remember that? Yeah. Is it formally seconded? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. We move on now to motion 130, Tallow West to propose. Have we anyone from Tallow West? Motion falls. Motion 131 in the name of the Wexford Town Branch.
Councillor David Hines, delegates, we call on the Labour Party to continue to campaign in opposition on behalf of the most vulnerable elements in society and to seek the reversal of the 4.1 cut in basic social welfare rates and the cuts in child benefit and job seekers allowance. And I just wanted to say that I have worked for many years in a car assembly, in a harness assembly in Wexford during the 70s, 80s and 90s, and I have seen plenty of recessions over the years. Today I'm one of the lucky ones that still has the job to go to, but I had a reason in the last few weeks to go to the social welfare office in Wexford, and it was like stepping back into time to see the hundreds and hundreds of people queuing for a meagre pay for having lost their job. So when the Galway tent was in full swing and Bertie and McCreevy and Cowan were partying with their mates, the builders and the bankers and the rest of the motley crew, a few voices cried caution, and they were told at the time that they were being talking down the economy, or even told to go and commit suicide by Bertie. But the old adage held true: there is honour among thieves. And when the wheels finally came off the wagon and we ended up in the state of affairs where we find ourselves now, it wasn't the poor that had to carry that were helped out, but it was the billions and billions that we've seen handed or pumped into zombie banks, and the children and our children and their children will have to pay for this in decades to come. In Wexford, as I speak, the unemployment rate is 18,650, over 3,000 since last year. At the time of the budget, there was a campaign, the Poor Can Pay, which was an accumulation of groups, and they warned at the time that this measure would hit the poorest and the most vulnerable in society, and this has proved to be the case. €1 in every 5 that came out of that was cut in the pocket of the government came from the pockets of the poor. And I myself work in a substance misuse, the Cornmarket project in Wexford Town, and I've seen it more and more. People, clients that we meet who come from the margins of society, having to go to the Vincent de Paul, having to go to the credit unions, and even more ominously in recent times, going back to money lenders. This was a scourge in the 80s and it's returning now as well. So all in all, the cocktail of cuts outlined in the budget have been affecting the most vulnerable groups in our society. So I call upon the conference to adopt this motion, and hopefully when we do enter into government, or if there is any negotiations, this measure will become a top priority to redress the balance again. Thank you.
Thank you, David.